Can everyone hear me?
Yes.
Thanks very much. So welcome again to, this is going to be the final session of the day and the final session, I would say the final of the conference. And hopefully everyone has had a good rest and probably a nap. So my name is Jean-Pierre. I'm a student a PhD student at School of Physics at the University of Melbourne. I would like to start by acknowledging the traditional custodians of the land on which ASG operates physically, and pay my respects to their elders, past and present. I extend that respect to Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander peoples here today. So as I just mentioned, this is a session, but the session has three sub-sessions. The first one is going to be a sort of a handover where we sort of appreciate the outgoing committee and welcome the incoming committee. That's going to take maybe 10 to 15 minutes. And then after that, we're going to have a panel discussion on networks that will be chaired by Dr. Christine Von William. And after that, we are going to have a musical conversation by Stephanie. So as we go to the handover stage, I would just want to remind you of the paper we had on Tuesday. We were speaking about, it was entitled The African Studies Group as a Constitutive Platform, where Kennedy looked at the history of ASG, who we are, and concluded some of the future steps. Well, I'm not going to go through the whole paper now, but like any other platform has a constitution. The constitution will talk about how people, the leadership and how the transition will take place. So in May we had elections, and yeah, the team chose a new committee. So and today, of course, that's when the official handover is going to take place. So now I'm going to invite Kennedy, who is the outgoing president, or should I say the former president, if he allows me to. So he was going to speak about his journey as the president, introduce his team, probably briefly, and talk about the experiences, lessons learned through his tenure. And at the end, Kennedy will welcome the incoming president. And after that, Franca will, who is the our incoming president, will sort of talk about where they want to lead our group to. And then after that, I'll come back. Over to you, Kennedy.
Thanks a lot, JP. And I think at this moment, we thought it was just a procedural issue, just handing over the leadership from one team to the next. But it's also a moment for reflection as we do so. And I'll just share a few reflections before I pass the baton to Franca, that's the incoming president of the Africa Studies Group. And one of the key things for me is at this conference this week, it's a validation of what we do as a group. I've been responsible as the president for the group for the last 2 years, but of course, it's a stellar team. And we've been quite ambitious. And one of the things we wanted to do, as JP mentioned, was to build the group into a platform that offers a space for people who are interested in African studies, but not only that, but themes that resonate with some of the issues that we tackle, to have a space to have that conversation, to build networks, etc. And to also open up the university space for these kinds of conversations over and beyond academics. And looking back at the last 2 years, I can say we've done that in a modest way. And every year, the group has been growing in leaps and bounds, be it in membership, in the kinds of activities that we do, the scope, but also in the ambition of that we have. And with every successive team, they come with great ambition, which is a good thing, which means the group can only get better. And as I hand over, perhaps one of the few things I'd like to reflect on, a few additional things is number one, thinking about the various people that make it happen. Many of the things have been done behind the scenes, for example, pulling this conference together, but it's taken tens, if not hundreds of hours of very dedicated membership from the committee members, from conceptualizing the conference last year to executing and implementing it and seeing it through the whole week. So the team has included Franca, has included JP, and Matthew Mabefam as part of the as the leadership team over those 2 years. And as we hand over to the new team, the good news is that there's some continuity, meaning that the lessons that we've learned over time will not get lost. But there's also new people, meaning they also bring new ideas and new membership. So as I hand over, for me, I'm very happy to see that we have a space like this one, Africa Studies Group, bring together all these different people and all learning from each other. That's the culmination of things that we planned before and seeing them actualize, but also seeing only better things can come after, including a great team. So at this point in time, I'll say thank you to the team for the wonderful opportunity to learn as well. And thank you everyone for making the Africa Studies Group what it is. So at this point in time, I will hand over to Franca and at this point, I assume my powers officially cease. And I now move to the advisory board and join Matthew Mabefam, who was my predecessor. Dr. Matthew Mabefam, who was my predecessor. So over to you, Franca.
Thank you so much, Kennedy. It's been a lot of joy and a learning process working with you over the past 2 years. I've learned so much from you, as looking at you, watching you lead the group into the place that we are in now. And I'm going to take a lot of that with me as I lead the group the next year. Hopefully it won't be 2 years before we have another election, but yeah. So it is, we recognize myself and JP here. There's Kofi. I thought we were going to, yes, thank you, JP. So this is the new incoming team. Myself as president, we have JP who is serving as a vice president. Kofi is one of the new people joining the leadership team, is serving as a secretary, and Vincent is helping out with the outreach and communication. Now, I'll just briefly say that on behalf of the team, we recognize this as an honor and a privilege to be elected to lead the next phase of the African Studies Group and what we are hoping to achieve, not only in University of Melbourne, but within Australia here and beyond. And then we appreciate the trust, and we recognize that it's an enormous responsibility that we don't take it lightly. So thank you so much. Those who have come before us, who have created this space and are we are hoping that you continue to be with us as we work through some of the things. And I'll just briefly touch on some of the things that we want to focus on. So one of the issues that, and I know having served in the previous committee, that was very important to us, was the sustainability of the group, which we think we've always seen the group as something that is beyond us and making sure that it survives us even when we've completed. So that is one thing that we really want to focus on as the incoming committee. And by that, we will be looking at membership, how to strengthen the membership, even within the group. A lot of us are students, so we are trying to build this support and mentorship within the group to help the new ones coming in, so that most of them will be comfortable in taking up some of these positions. Another thing is we want to focus on is getting a bit more funds to sponsor some of the ambitious programs that we have coming in. Another issue is that we want to really explore like the continuous engagement that we have. So currently we are engaging a lot with the African Australian community here in Australia, in Victoria and beyond. And we also want to explore engagement with the First Nations or the Indigenous community here. And yes, of course, the other thing is that we want to bring even a more engaging international conference next year. So these are, I don't want us to take a bit more time than we already have. So these are some of the few issues that we'll be looking at as the core of what we are trying to do. And we look forward to continuing to work with the advisory board, which is currently consists of Kennedy and Dr. Mabi Pham. And of course, the partners that we work with, MSCI has been with us from the jump, and we are always grateful for their help and their support. And of course, several other groups that I can mention now. So thank you so much. I'll invite the team if there is anything else that they would like to add. If not, okay. JP, you are on mute.
Thanks very much, Frank and Ken, for your words, great ones. And before we head to the next session, I would like to also remind you that in the ASG context, the outgoing committee doesn't just go, as Kenneth mentioned. They are promoted to what we call the fellowship of elders. So it's like you know how Catholics promote people to the sainthood? That's what happened. So, and this has not been fair. I mean, for Matthew, who has been talking to the ancestors alone. So congratulations, Ken, for joining that fellowship. And please, Matthew, give a warm welcome to Kennedy to that fellowship. So, well, we also have a culture of giving out certificates. So once the restrictions are eased here in Victoria, we can meet up somewhere and you get your certificates. To the incoming committee, there is a saying in Hebrew, not sure if it's a saying, they say Mazel Tov, which means congratulations, but also good luck. So there are two things here. Congratulations on the W, but also good luck in the new assignments.